This is Allison Thompson, Director at Marshall Public Library, representing the Friends of the Library's Oral History Project. This afternoon, I am speaking with Leland Buckner on August 25th, 2015. We are at Burnside's Community Health Center in Marshall, Illinois, and Leland has a strong history in Marshall, specifically Clarksville. So Leland, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born north of Clarksville. I have a home up there now, but I'm in Burnside now. And I was born in 1930. And my parents was Eugene and Madge Buckner, and there were 5 of us children. 3 boys and 2 girls. And there's 3 of us that's still living. Me and a sister and my youngest brother.
And what were their names?
Zelda, Kern, and Jim Buckner. He lives up Edgar County. Zelda lives, well, here in Marshall someplace now.
Now you said you were born in this area. Have you lived here all your life?
Outside of when I was in the Marine Corps.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I was in the Marine Corps, and during the Korean deal, and I spent most of my time in California.
So,
out of Camp Pendleton, California.
And how long were you there?
2 years.
What's your memory of that time? What's your biggest memory of that time?
Oh, we were right on the coast. I was a cook in the mess hall and worked days, worked day on and day off, and I worked nights for a while as a cook, and I'd work 5 nights, and then I'd be off 2 nights, and then I'd work 5 nights and off 2 nights, and which was great. I had daytime off, and anytime you was off daytime, well, you'd go to the beach out there. It was just 100 yards from our barracks where the beach was out there in California. It was nice. And
well, that sounds nice, yeah.
And there's only one time I'd ever saw any frost out there. The whole time I was there, 2 years. And
now, where in Clarksville did you live?
Just a mile and a half north.
On which road?
Well, it runs into the Conlog Road. That's
okay.
You turn right there between the restaurant and the body shop, and that's.
Now, is that the home you grew up in?
Yes.
Okay, so you ended up living in the home that you grew up in?
Yes.
Okay.
My parents, well, I was born there, and then later years, when my grandmother passed away, my dad and I bought the property up there, the farm and house, and he and Mom, my mother, they lived in the house, and they had 60 acres that side, and I had 80 on the other side, and then before Dad passed away, well, he wanted me to buy the rest of it so Mom would have a place to live as long as she could live in the country.
That's right, yeah.
So that's what we done.
So was farming the main thing you did then throughout your life?
Yes, mostly. I worked, before I went to Marine Corps, I worked grocery store in Marshall, up on Route 1.
Which grocery store was that?
Yeah, they called it Pierce's. Bill Pierce had the grocery store there.
Okay. And how old were you when you worked there?
Oh, I was out of high school. Yeah, I was a short time after I was out of high school.
Now, back back to the farm, what are some of your favorite childhood memories growing up on the farm? You had 5 brothers and sisters, so I'm sure you've got some good stories to tell.
No. Back then we didn't have a lot because this was hard times. My dad started out as a school teacher, and he taught school a while, and then he farmed a while, and then teachers got hard to place, and he went back to teaching school. He went to night school to get back up on training because he hadn't taught school for a long time. And matter of fact, he didn't have no driver's license, and he lost his driver's license, and I'd take him down, and we'd go to sessions, and when he'd go in, they'd teach him, do things they wanted him to do in the school, and we'd do them at school.
So, kids growing up on a farm with not much to do other than things you do on a farm, what were some of those things that you would do on a farm when you were playing as a child?
Yeah. We'd knock clods around with a stick and one thing and another. And,
sure.
And then we had wire hoops, and we'd make a thing and hold that, and you push that down the road. We'd push those back to school, and we'd go to school and run them around races and race with those things.
Now, did Clarksville have its own school at that time?
Clarksville had a school, but I didn't go to Clarksville.
Oh, okay.
There was a little school north of Clarksville, about 2 miles, they called Germany.
Oh.
And that was an old German settlement years ago. Come there, German people settled there, and they called that Germany. And I went to school there. Went 8 grades there.
Now that was just north of where you lived, you say?
North of where I lived, yeah.
Okay. And so, tell me about school. What was the class size like, and the teachers and the kids?
Well, we had one time we had a man teacher. Most of the time we had a lady teacher, and she lived in the neighborhood, and she walked to school, and she built her fires herself, and we had an old stove. They had some wood and coal, and that's all we heated with. And when cold weather, we all sat with our coats up around the stove.
I bet. Now, was this a one-room schoolhouse then?
Yes, one-room school.
So how many students were in there?
Oh, run from, I think maybe one time we might have had 20, but most of the time it was 10 or 12, 15.
And all ages?
All ages.
All ages?
Yeah, all eight grades at that time.
What did you think about having all different ages in a schoolhouse?
Well, we didn't mind it because, we was kids at home and we was in the neighborhood, and we all knew each other. And
Now, did you walk to school then?
Yes.
How far of a walk was it for you?
Half a mile.
Half a mile. All weather, right?
All weather.
Now, when you started to get a little bit older and you started helping around the farm and the house, what were some of the chores that you would do around the house?
Well, I didn't do too much housework because I had 2 sisters, one of them next to me, and then I had a brother, and then I had a sister, and then a brother. And I didn't do much housework.
Did you help with the farm then? Were you doing chores with animals and farming?
We had animals. And, yeah.
So what did that look like? What kind of chores did you do for that?
Well, we had to feed hogs and cattle and milk the cows and slop the pigs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, of course, we always had to make hay and suck corn by hand to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And then later years, Dad got big in the dairy business, and we had put up a silo, and we put solids in that for the cows to eat, and hay solids and corn solids, and we had milking parlor to milk cows in. And,
a lot different than today.
well, similar, only it's more fancier now than it was then.
Yeah.
But we had cows, and we'd milk cows twice a day. And one time, we'd have 500-gallon milk pickup every other day.
Wow.
Milk truck would come, buck truck, pick that up.
So you had a bit of a milking business as well as farming.
Yeah. Now, when we was that, we had milkers. And
Did you ever have any animals get loose? Any memories of when you were trying to handle the livestock?
Oh, we've had cattle get loose, and have to go to the neighbors and get them back, or go someplace else. Or
does any one memory stand out to you?
no, not really, but
Livestock, you never know.
we used to. Us kids was all in 4-H, and we had cattle one time. We had a steer couldn't do anything with, and we took him show. Man, we told him to watch out, and he got loose. And everybody thought, go catch him. And I said, no, just wait. I said, I can catch him. I said, he'll stop, and I'll just walk up and get him. And I walked up and got him, and just took a whole lead and let him back.
There you go.
If he wanted to go, there wasn't no need to stop him, because he's too big to stop.
Now, you mentioned 4-H. Were there other activities or things that you did as a child and teenager?
That's probably 4-H, the main thing we were in. Us kids 4-H, and our parents was 4-H leaders, and then Betty and I was 4-H leaders, my wife and I. And
it's a great organization.
We've seen a lot of good kids, and some that wasn't as good, but most of them turned out pretty good. And it seemed like they took an interest. If you get them interested in something, they could.
Now, how long did you serve as a leader on 4-H?
I don't remember. My dad and mother were leaders, and then Betty and I were leaders, 4-H leaders, later on.
Now, when you got a little older into high school, were you into any sports or anything?
I played football.
Did you? What'd you play?
I played tackle and guard.
Do you have any fond memories of football?
Well, one time we went, Charlie Bush was our coach, and he had a friend, Evansville, that was a coach down there, and he wanted us to come down and play him. Well, that school down there, we only had 25 or 6 kids on our whole football squad. We went down there, and they dressed 12 teams to come out down there. It was a big school. It was really I call it a small college, as big as it was. But anyhow, we went down there, and of course, we had no competition for them. They just ran over us. They were bigger and faster and well trained,
and you were just country kids.
we were country kids.
Now, when you played sports, what team were you playing? Were you still part of the Marshall schools?
Yeah, Marshall High School, yeah.
Okay.
That was where it was at.
So you ended up going to Marshall High School after leaving. At what point did you go to the Marshall schools? At what grade?
When I went to high school.
Okay.
I graduated from 8th grade in country school and went to high school in Marshall.
So was it common then to have country schools?
Yes.
And then you went to high school?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Is there a teacher or a memory of high school that stands out to you? Any girls that stand out? Any dating?
Well, we had lady teacher when I was going to grade school, and she was single. She'd never been married, but she was a good teacher, and she liked kids, and you would learn.
Who was it? Do you remember her name?
Catherine Traves.
And what did she teach?
All 8th grades
Okay.
in one room school. And she walked to school half a mile to teach school.
Okay.
And she teaching, and she didn't mind smacking your butt either. She had a paddle.
Yeah.
And she told you. And she had to turn you over the desk and she'd paddle your butt.
Did everybody get paddled at least once, you think?
Well, most of us. Yes.
Of course, it's very different now. It's very different now. Yeah. But in high school, is there a teacher who you remember being a teacher who stands out, or?
Well, Mr. Friendly, he taught woodworking and industrial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Finley. And then Mr. Hornbrook, he taught history. Mr. Holler, I believe Mr. Holler was, taught English.
What was your favorite sport, or favorite subject, excuse me, in high school?
Oh, I like industrial arts and woodworking, probably. But
Mm-hmm. Were there any special girls during high school?
well, I dated a girl or two.
Tell me, I know that it's different now, how people date. What was it like to date somebody when you were at that age? What did you do when you went on a date, and how did that work exactly?
Well, if you went on a date, it was generally a school activity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a prom or something like that, or Christmas dance or something like that we'd go to.
Did you ever go on a date that wasn't a school activity?
Not when I went to school.
Now, after high school, what did you do? Did you go on to get any additional education, or did you go straight to work?
Well, I worked on the farm then, and I went to the Marine Corps. When the draft came in, well,
Mm-hmm.
I got drafted, and I got St. Louis, and we stand in line, and old Marine Corps started to come on. We'd been standing in line for 3 hours in order to get signed in. And he said, "Do you guys like to get out of here?" And there was 5 of us from Marshall there, and together. And we said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I can get you out of here." I said, "You just come with me." And he took us out of there and went around and told the people in front of the line taking us through that he's going to take us. And we'd go in the Marine Corps, and we went to Marine Corps.
So you were standing in line for the draft, and
Yeah.
so you didn't know where you were going to go until you got up to the front of the line?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And you waited 3 hours?
We stood in 3 hours and
Wow.
hadn't got up there yet. And it was going to be after dark and all.
Well, yeah.
He said, "I'll take you and get something to eat and play sleep."
Now tell me a little bit about the draft. What happened there, and what were your thoughts about that experience?
Well, at that time, you were just drafted to go into service. I mean, when you're a certain age, and they need people to either volunteered or you drafted. And I was working on the farm,
And for what war was that you were drafted?
that was a Korean deal.
Now, did you ever go over to Korea?
No.
Never did. Okay, so you were in California
Yes.
most of that time. Okay. And so how long were you in the Marines altogether?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. That's what you said. Okay. So after the Marines, you went back to the farm?
Mm-hmm.
And tell me, did you end up marrying then, shortly after that time?
No, I didn't get married for, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years.
How old were you when you got married?
Gosh, I think I don't know. I might have been 24. I don't know.
Okay.
I was 5 years older than my wife. I think she'd graduated from high school that spring. And,
So how did you meet your wife?
her folks had a country grocery store in Clarksville, and people go down there on. Her dad always went to Terre Haute and got the groceries and commodities for the store for the week on Friday. And people go down there on Friday and sit there and drink pop and talk and get stuff they'd ordered. You know, he'd bring dry goods, clothing, and groceries and stuff in back. And sometimes he had a pickup and he hauled back. Sometimes bring somebody some chicken feet or something if they need them, and stuff like that. And I don't know. Started going down there, and Betty was there, and we got to talking.
So what was it like courting Betty?
I don't know. She's just a young girl, and she was nice.
So how long did you two date before you got married?
I think 3 years.
And then she moved on to the farm with you?
Yes, yeah.
And then, okay. And so what, did she stay kind of taking care of the farm and helping you?
Well, some, and then she was working in town. She had a job at town.
What was she doing in town?
She worked a restaurant in town at that time.
Which restaurant was that?
Well, ended up being the Colonial Kitchen.
Okay.
I never had it to start with. She had a cousin that worked there and got her the job. And she worked there.
And then you two had children. Tell me about your children.
Well, we got one son, John.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about John.
John, he lives out in the country, Clarksville now. He works for Murphy Farm Seeds.
Okay.
And he runs a seed business for him. That's his job.
Does he still have your family's farm that he helps take care of, or?
Yes.
Good. And is he married?
Yes.
And does he have children?
Yes.
And tell me his wife and children's names.
Well, his wife now is Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
And she likes 5 years being older than his mother.
Oh, okay.
His first wife and him, they had a son, and she was a little wild, and she took off, and I don't know whether.
Now, what's the son's name then? Your grandson's name?
Randy.
Okay, I know Randy.
You know Randy?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I know your son too.
John. Randy's in Beaumont, Texas.
Okay. I wondered where.
He would be back, I believe, the first week of September.
And did he marry and have any children, or?
Yes. He married a lady. And they had a son. And they got divorced. And then he's remarried. And he's got a little girl now. She's 10 or 12.
Well, good for him. Good for him.
But his wife in Texas, she's a chemical engineer down there. And
Good.
And he works for a chemical company too. And that's,
Now, what historical events stand out to you? What are some of the big moments in your life that just really stand out to you? What are some of the things maybe in history that were big events during your lifetime? For example, I remember when I was working, I remember exactly what I was doing when 9/11 happened. I remember when the airplanes hit the towers and exactly what I was doing at that time. Is there anything that you remember standing out to you as far as historical events?
when did that happen? What year?
That was 2001. Mm-hmm.
I remember that coming over radio,
Mm-hmm. But growing up, do you remember anything that stands out to you?
my grandmother and grandfather lived on the farm where Betty and I own now. Of course, Betty's gone, but they moved there in '09, and they planted 10-acre apple orchard. Well, that summer my grandfather passed away, and her name was Berthy, and he got sick, got pneumonia, and he told her, said, Berthy, said, you lose the farm. She said, she told him no, she wouldn't.
He was worried about that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
But they had 3 kids, and the little one wasn't, let's see, little one was, well, a little over a year old, but she raised them kids.
So how old was he when he passed away? Sounds like he was pretty young.
Yeah, he's pretty young, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then, so she raised those 3 kids by herself.
Raised her kids.
Wow. And kept the farm.
And kept the farm.
And kept the farm. What a woman. You must be proud of her.
And I have, well, my son's got it now, but we have the farm that they got when they come here.
I think it's great that it's went on from generation to generation. You're seeing less and less of that. So, what modern conveniences of today have kind of affected your life the most?
Probably when we got electricity.
Oh gosh, yes. Tell me about that. Tell me your memories of that.
Well, when rural electricity come through, we got electricity, and that's something. You flip a switch to get lights.
Yeah.
Before that, we had gas lights.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see gas lights?
No.
You had lamps. You put white gas in them,
Mm-hmm.
or lanterns.
Okay,
You
lanterns, yes.
pumped them up air, and they had a mantle on them. You burnt those mantles. They were cloth. You put them on there, and you burn them.
Mm-hmm. The
And
wicks. Mm-hmm.
They just hung on there, and then when they got burnt, you turned the gas on, and they light them, and they just sit there and glow.
Was there ever any concerns of fire with those?
Oh, yes.
Growing up? Do you
Yes.
remember any incidents where
Well,
people had fire?
There was houses that they'd upset those, and they'd catch something on fire.
Oh, sure.
You didn't want them on a table where there was papers or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
And these are the lanterns that.
well, you had lanterns, and then you had just a light up too.
Hmm. What other changes have came over the years, such as electricity, during your lifetime? How is the telephone different?
Well,
Yeah.
we had those ringer telephones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever see those? You ring them here and the receiver. Yeah, we had those to start with.
Now, did you have the operator then
Yeah.
that you had to connect through?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what. We were on a party line. There's 5 of us on the party line, and they'd ring. Well, I think maybe ours was 2 longs and a short, or something like that. You'd ring 2 longs, 2 longs, 3 longs, and then you'd ring 1 short, and whoever was wanting to call. And
Now, on those party lines, could you really listen to other people's conversations?
oh, anybody on the party line, they'd pick up.
You never did that, though, did you?
Not too much. We had one old neighbor lady. She sat by her phone all the time, and when it rang, she'd pick up her phone and she'd listen to everybody, And she was gossipy. God. Well, she was terrible.
So, tell me, what was your favorite food growing up? What when you were growing up and you would make family meals at home, what were some of your favorite family meals?
Boys like the new sweet corn. When sweet corn come, we like sweet corn and tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
We go to peas, sweet potatoes. We had pumpkins, squash.
Everything.
We go to everything, yeah.
What's your favorite food now?
I eat most anything.
Yeah.
I'm not particular.
I'm kind of that way too.
After I went to the Marine Corps, I learned to eat everything.
Well, I want to thank you for talking with me today. I know that your family and others in Marshall will enjoy hearing your history. Is there anything else you'd like to share with me that stands out in your memories?
But a lot of people in Marshall know me.
They do. And I think they're going to enjoy listening to this. So thank you very much for doing it today.
Well,